All right, we are live. Dude, you need to
Live.
you need to get on that glucomannan. Is that how you pronounce it? Glucomannan?
I have no idea. I've never even heard of it before.
I need to know that. How do you pronounce
Glucomannan, glucomannan.
glucomannan? Let's hear. Okay. Glucomannan.
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 What does it say that it does? I mean, what is its? What's? I mean,
So,
like, I know
okay.
what glucose is, so I'm assuming there's something to do with that.
Okay, so it's a fiber from the cognac tree, cognac plant, also known as the elephant ear plant.
No way.
And yeah,
I
and
got that in my
so
backyard. I could go eat some.
go
Guys, just
get you
go eat
some
some of that.
cognac. Let's go.
Is that
So
like a
basically,
drink? I thought
bro,
that's a
listen.
drink.
Okay, so I've got my powder right here in my. Let's see if I can.
Does it? Does it taste like? Does it taste like some kind of a? What does
No,
it
listen,
taste like?
listen, bro, listen. You need to take some of it, and just get your little glass of water. Don't drink this one just to see it, and you take the glucomannan,
Blah 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 blah.
and
Glucomannan.
glucomannan. So
Yeah.
take the glucomannan, put it in a glass of water, and just let it sit there. And in 20 seconds, it goes like it turns into this gel that's
Okay.
like 50 times more bigger, whatever.
Oh.
So like it starts expanding. So if you don't drink it right away, I
Uh-huh.
hadn't taken it for a while because like I would take it and I was drinking it with water and it turns into this gel. And like, bro, you have to like, if you don't drink it right away, you got to chew it.
No.
Bro, it's so
No.
gnarly, man. It
It
is
says
so
it works
gnarly.
in the stomach and intestines by absorbing water to form a
Mhm.
bulky fiber, which slows digestion and promotes a feeling of fullness, satiety. Are you satiated, bro? It has been studied for several potential health benefits, one of which is constipation.
I don't think that's the
Weight
benefit of
management,
it.
cholesterol and blood sugar control, and diabetes and blood pressure. So I wonder. So we take easy fiber from Life Extensions.
Mhm.
I wonder if it's got something. Let's see if it's got that in it.
Listen, listen. So I did this deal and it said that this is the best fiber you can take.
Okay.
And I think I told you, like with some of the other things I'm doing, whatever, like it said within 6 months you can lower your APOB and your LDL stuff like 25 to 40%. And it said most people within 6 months get within like the 77 optimal range for
No way,
APOB
Chris.
because it goes
It
through a whole
is.
description.
It is what I've been taking.
Is it really?
It's easy fiber, bro. It's hilarious because we'll say like my wife will say she said today, she said, "Hey, we're out of that easy fiber, aren't we?" And I said, "Yeah." And but usually she'll say, "Hey, your AG1's over there, drink it fast. I put the fiber in." It's
Got to
exactly
drink
what
it
she
fast,
said.
bro. You got to drink it fast, man. I'm telling you.
What? It says, yes, glucomannan from the konjac root.
There you go. There you go. It's
I
in
thought
there,
you were
bro.
saying like COGNAC, like cognac. I'm like, that's not good.
Well, throw a little
What
something,
are you
something in
drinking?
there,
I mean, there's limits, Chris. There's
You got to
limits
throw
to
a
the
little
stuff that you
something
can
in there,
drink and
bro.
do.
You got to throw a
Oh, I
little
just lost
something
your
in there.
mic. Can you hear me?
You lost my mic? Testing?
Is it me or is it you? Hold on.
Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. It's
Hmm.
showing that it's going through.
Hold on.
Can people hear me?
Can you hear me? I don't hear
You
you.
can't hear me?
No.
Can anybody else hear me? Ask if anybody else can hear me.
I can't hear. I've switched over to the iMac. Hold on. Hold on.
Testing 1 2.
Audio.
Testing 1, 2.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so it must be I lost you here somehow.
Testing
So when
1,
I
2.
switched to iMac, yeah, to iMac speakers. Okay, try it again.
Testing 1, 2.
Okay, there we go. But do you have me now? Did I go away?
I do, but like you went massive latency.
Oh no.
What did you do?
If I listen to you, hold on. To you on the iMac speakers. I wonder if it'll sound bad. Is it got latency now?
It does.
Dude, I told you I turned off my internet because it's so bad right now. We just got a deal.
Well,
Hold on.
oh, there you go. You're back. Don't do anything. You're back. Oh, you're gone. And just like that, he is gone. What happened to you, bro? This is a great way to start off the podcast. So while he's doing that, appreciate everybody jumping on. Appreciate the birthday wishes. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Favorite part of the show when my brother gets stuck. Yes. Got to get them internets up. Got to do that for sure. All right, let me see what's happening with my brother. Oh, he was there and then disappeared. So it looks like I'm gonna have to carry the show today, which we can do that. Maybe Tony Richard, maybe we're gonna need you to jump on today, bro. So I don't know what he is doing. While he is trying to figure out all the technical glitchy stuff. Oh, there we go.
Oh, bro.
He's back. You just need to change your name. Here, I got you.
Oh, jeez. Can you do it?
Yeah, KGD Junior 3.
Okay, so I got the Scarlett mic. I've got you on audio output. I have you on the iMac speakers.
Yeah, I can hear like the echoey.
You can. I was afraid of that.
You were fine at the end there where you started to you were the latency cleared up.
Yeah,
and then you disappeared. Oh yeah, I got you. Oh, that's
All
a
right.
lot of echo.
It's echo now?
Yeah.
I just put the AirPods in.
You need to change your audio. Change your audio.
Oh, wait. Audio. Hold on. It went to my AirPods and it went back to the iMac, I bet.
Testing. Oh yeah, there you go.
It is.
We did
if
it.
I have issues today, just so you know, it is we got a deal from Metronet saying they're having some.
Oh boy, that's not good.
You know, the dumb thing about it is Metronet is it's our fiber optic provider. So we switched over to fiber. Yeah, yes, glucomannan. But it slows digestion. It slows your fiber, slows your internet. They tell you it's faster.
Internet gets constipated.
It is. I think it is. I'm wondering if there's some issue with. I don't know if they're putting in lines everywhere, and they're like, like we'll sell it to you for, we'll sell it to you for half price.
There's a reason.
They're like, when it works, it's 2 times faster than your Spectrum. When it doesn't work, you might as well go drink you some glucomannan.
Well, speaking of fiber, we've got it's Little Toilet joining us on Facebook. And
Huh?
his Little Toilet said, "Got to get them internets up California way."
Technological.
That's what I'm talking about. Welcome, Little Toilet.
Hey,
You notice how I said Little Toilet? That was so bad. Little Toilet.
it's like Lil Wayne.
There you go. Little Toilet. All right,
Hey,
let me
we start talking about, I don't know if we might have affected the algorithm talking about doggone fiber and
hello, right?
constipation. We start talking about constipation. It's like, oh, they need some people with a little toilet. They need help with a little toilet. That's awesome, bro. What a great name.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. The greatest invention and rapper of all time. There you go.
For
That
real.
is amazing. All right, you want to give us? Can you see Chief Meteorologist Kim Bastarkey weather report? Can you see it?
No.
All right.
You're
Chief
gonna have to do it.
Meteorologist Ken Bastarkey says 36 degrees, high of 42 in Northeast Ohio. Right now, it is freezing rain in Toledo. Stupid.
It's
Stupid weather.
Hey, speaking of little toilet, that's the name of your local meteorologist. You're like
Tony Richards.
we,
Tony Richards
we
said
call
we
him
should
Little
be.
Potty Mouth.
we could call this portion of the episode "Unplugged with the Dillinghams." Speaking of
Yes.
constipation,
Unplugged.
Oh man, never mind. We better just move on before we get into a lot of trouble.
I know.
Oh man. All
Like
right, you
fish
ready?
in the toilet.
All right, you ready to go?
Yes.
All right, I think we're good to go. It's gonna get so bad, bro.
Oh, shucks.
That's the last thing that we need. That's the last thing we need, Tony Richards. Stop it. Stop it. Oh, man.
Oh, moving on, says Jen Dillahan.
Oh, goodness. I mean, listen, this is why we're in the top 10% of all podcasts.
People are like, man, people must be really, really
showing up for the train wreck. Oh, man.
Yeah.
All right, but we're going to pull it together.
Yes.
And it's going to be an amazing episode.
That is so, Kris, that is so hilarious that the easy fiber that we've been doing, you said, because you asked me, you're like, have you ever heard of glucosamine? I'm like, I had never even heard of it, bro. But it says right on the deal, easy fiber. See? That's what we take. See? Easy fiber from Life Extensions. It's orange. And it says glucosamine from the konjac root.
There you go.
See, I say it like, what I do is, it's my pronunciations. See, these people, if you listen to people from England,
okay,
they don't pronounce, even if they're talking about food.
Yeah.
They very rarely, like, they don't say, like, do you want a croissant? Because they're like, we're not French.
Yeah.
We say croissant. Or they'll be like, they'll say, you know, in any kind of like word, like people say niche. It's a niche market. Well, okay, but here's the deal. No, it's a niche. It's a niche market. And so if you listen to people from England, they don't use native pronunciations.
Right.
Right. Because here's the deal. Okay. Think about all these people who got in trouble, a few years ago when DEI was completely out of control and people were dressing up like that girl came to school in a Pocahontas outfit And
Yeah.
then there was another report that this girl came in like a Chinese, like with her hair up like this, and like a what do they call it, like a sorrel or
Kimono.
kimono, whatever it is, and they got in trouble because for appropriating the culture, another
Yeah.
culture.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
if you say niche, niche, then you're verbally appropriating a culture that you're not. So just say niche because that's
When
your
did
language.
when did that become a thing?
Right.
Niche.
I don't know. All my
All of
life
a
I
sudden.
never ever heard it any other way except it's kind of a niche market.
Yeah.
And then
100%.
people were like, well, but it's very pronounced niche.
There's
Uh,
another example. It'll
you got
hit
to
me in
pull
a
your
minute,
lip
but
up a little bit when you say it.
niche,
It's really
niche,
pronounced niche.
niche. Yeah. It's like you've been taking glucosamine or something. Yeah, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. There's another example, and it'll hit me. It'll hit me in a minute, but it's another word that we've said it a certain way, like my whole life, and then all of a sudden, it became like the in vogue thing to say it a
Right.
certain way, and like,
Right.
why, who, what? So I'll remember it. Like mid podcast, it'll hit me, and I'll tell you what it is.
Yeah.
So
It's probably a word like abracadabra.
I don't think that's the one.
Abracadabra.
I don't think that's the one, but we'll see what it is.
Abracadabra.
All right, we better get rolling. It's almost 10:30, bro.
I
And
know.
it's been a stellar performance already. So
So far,
it can only go up from here.
gyro. Right. Go get you a gyro.
Yes. Yes.
I'm not going to eat
Arbitrary.
I'm not going to eat a
Michael
hero.
Caven busted out the arbitrary pronunciation police. Yes, absolutely.
Yay.
100%.
I like it.
All right, here we go. You ready to rock?
I am.
Here we go. All right. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Mobilized Church Podcast. This is Kris Dillingham alongside my big brother Ken Dillingham, Junior the Third. It's a Tuesday. It's not. I mean,
is.
it's a beautiful Tuesday. Not necessarily weather-wise, but it's a beautiful Tuesday to be alive. And
True.
it's been a lively pre-show already. And the good news is it can only get better from here.
What was it? Who was the team? There was an NFL team, and they came out, and their mantra was, I think it was last Sunday, they came out and said, "The worst is behind us."
I mean, that's one way to look at it.
That was their mantra. Then they lost, and they're like, "Yeah, I guess it isn't."
Was it the Raiders?
I was wondering if it was like the Cleveland Browns or
Well, and it wasn't behind them.
no.
So, I mean, it is Cleveland. Oh no, I'm gonna get in so much trouble. I couldn't resist, bro. I couldn't resist. I could not resist. I mean, there'll be no
Speaking of little toilet and the worst is behind us.
And Cleveland, it all ties together.
The Cleveland Browns.
Oh, you got to stop, bro. We are live. You do know that, right? We're live. We are live. Oh
that's
man.
true. That's true.
So, oh man, yes. So it's been an interesting conversation already this morning, but we're just proving you can have fun. You can have a podcast, have a good time with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to be
True.
This is our niche market for the podcast.
Yeah. You might
He just said, yeah.
You might want to do 3, 2, 1 again.
I might.
I think
we got to roll with it, man. We got to roll with it.
We need to remark it and have Reese. People are like, these guys are idiots.
Well,
there's a line at which you get to a point where you're like, you know what, you don't have anything to say. You're just
Right, for real. We do have a topic today, though, and I think it's going to be a good conversation. And there's nothing wrong with throwing in a
Right.
little
That's what I'm talking about.
humor, or, oh, and then you just disappeared on us, so we may have to start over again. I'm not really sure what happened there, so let's wait and see. I think we're going to have to start all over again because my man straight up just disappeared on me. This has been quite a day already. This has been quite a morning. Let me see what we got going on. See if he's coming back.
Uh-oh.
Bro,
We got some internet situations.
Jimmy Tony said he can replace you.
Yes, he could. Easily. Any day of the week.
Oh man,
Am
yes.
microphone?
Yeah,
Okay.
little toilet is praying for us.
Golly, bro. This whole
Jimmy Tony
podcast
said he
is
can
in.
call in and replace you if he needs to. He can step
It's
in
like
at a
that.
moment's notice.
It's like that commercial with guys trying to back into the.
Here's the question. Has anybody seen Jimmy Tony and its little toilet in the same place? I'm just saying.
True.
Good old fiber optics. Oh man. We got to start over, man.
Sorry, guys. My
Oh,
internet is horrible. Okay, all right. I'm ready to go. Let's. I actually switched to a different internet, a different router. So
okay, let's see
hopefully
what
this
happens.
works. Yeah.
If you bail, if something happens,
It'll just be
I'll just
abbreviated.
and I'll just keep rolling with it, and you just
Oh,
try to jump
until I get back on.
and
Okay, all right.
unless something happens,
If
and
it
you
is,
can't
I'll
get back
text you
on, just
via.
let me know.
I'll text you via cellular.
Yep. All right, let's try this again. I don't know that we can recreate Cleveland Browns deal and all that stuff, man.
I know.
That's probably a good thing. That's a good thing. Jared Young says Reese is getting a lot of good B-roll from today.
I know,
For
right?
real. For real. All right, take two. This is like maybe the second time in 5 years we've done this. That's pretty good.
Yes, it is true.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Mobilized Church Podcast. This is Kris Dillingham alongside my big brother, Ken Dillingham Jr. the third on a beautiful Tuesday. It's a beautiful Tuesday.
Yes, it
despite
is.
the weather.
Depending on how you
crazy
define
outside.
beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. So it has been one of the more interesting pre-shows. It's just there's been a lot going on today. I'll just leave it at that.
For real. I had just gotten out of Bible college, and the church that I was at when I first got married, at my father-in-law's church, on Sunday morning. This would have been, I don't know, back in the days where I'm trying to remember what model dinosaur we were driving to church. But anyway, it was, we would sing the song. If you remember, beautiful, beautiful Jesus is to me.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful Counselor, Prince of Peace is he. And so we would, we were still in the era where we were singing some of those sort of, I called them blended worship songs. They sounded like songbook songs, but they were like worship songs. Anyway, one of the little kids in Sunday school said, hey, have you ever seen Jesus? And I said, no, I've never seen him. And he goes, oh, how do you know he's beautiful?
Right. There you go.
And I came out of Bible college.
That's a good, that could be a good podcast right there.
Yeah. In the mouth of like it was like a 6-year-old. Because we were teaching at the time, my father-in-law asked me, he said, I think the best place for you to plug in coming out of Bible college to really get your ministry started on the right foot is teaching the kindergarten class.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Mm-hmm. I
How'd
didn't
that
think
go?
so. I didn't think so at the time.
Yeah.
I didn't
But you
think
did
that
it.
was amazing. Right. I did it. And then they asked me questions like that. And I thought, wow. And he's like, because here's the thing, you can make up theological answers that adults will be like, okay, not 6-year-olds.
Right.
Six
I
year
love
olds are
it.
like, how do you know Jesus is beautiful if you haven't seen him?
That's pretty awesome.
Uh,
They didn't prepare you for that at Bible college, did
yeah.
they?
I said, yeah, we're going to have to take that song out of the, we're going to have to take that song out of the cycle.
For real. For real. All right. Well, we're going to get rolling today. We've had tech issues, we've had
Yes.
all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
Blaming, as Tony
Fiber,
Richards said, blaming fiber. Fiber optics
blaming
today
fiber.
is
It's
got
all the
everything.
fiber's fault.
It is 100%. All right. So today we're going to have a conversation. I think this is going to be a good one. I think today is one of those. I think everything is super relevant. We try to take even, maybe deep theological points, and how do we bring them practically into a person's life? This isn't just like theological discussion. It's theological
Yeah.
conversations, but how do we make them practical? How
Yeah.
do we bring them into a person's life?
Right.
So all right. So today what we want to talk about is we live in an extremely emotion-driven world,
True.
right? When I was at UGST, we had Philip Johnson come in, and he gave us a presentation about the history of modernism and postmodernism, and how postmodernism was a reaction to the modernistic view of like everything can be solved through science. You can figure it all out. That right? You can figure out the truth and the answers through science.
Until we had 2 world wars in 15, 20 years and a nuclear bomb and
Great Depression and
maybe science and technology isn't going to be our utopia.
Right. And so then postmodernism kind of introduced this idea that truth is this elusive thing, that it's not really something you can capture, but truth becomes then a lot about what you feel, right? And this is where we get the idea and the concepts of like my truth and all of that kind of stuff. And so
from objective to subjective.
100%. That was the major shift that began to happen, and people need to live out not what you know or not what has been known to be truth. I mean, when you start studying out, like you can totally see how we got here in 2025. That the years, I mean, particularly in the 60s and 70s, kind of the indoctrination into that postmodern thinking. And now you're living with the byproduct of that now a couple generations later, of you've got people that things that have been held to be true forever, two genders, all of that kind of stuff. And
marriage is a man and woman. Like basic, I mean, that 6-year-old that asked me that question understands the basic biology of a man and woman.
Yeah.
Husband and wife, like male and female. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
By the way, you're genius in the way you're setting this up today. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you, man.
This is November 18th. This is my brother's birthday, everyone. Let's shout it out at my brother.
He's the man. Birthday.
And you're setting it up genius, because I know where you're going, and I didn't even realize it until I realized it about you setting it up from modernism to postmodernism, and I realized what you're doing. Good job. This is good.
Well, I appreciate that. 53 years, man. You gain a little knowledge, a little wisdom. And let me just interject real quick. 53 years, and I'm determined. I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life. So let me just throw a little encouragement out to people. Like, get healthy.
Get healthy.
Do the things. Take your glucosamine. Right. Do the things you need to do to get healthy. So anyway, so with all of that, it shifted everything from like knowledge and how you think to how you feel. And one of the unintended consequences of that is we now live in a culture and a generation where everything is driven by emotions.
Yes.
everything is driven by feelings. It's no
Mhm.
wonder in a postmodern generation that you have an entire, and it literally like almost an entire generation that consistently battles anxiety. And I know that there's a lot of factors. I know there's a lot of, um, it's not just one single thing, but I think when you extract away an idea that there is truth that can be known, now all of a sudden it's just like there's no foundation.
Mhm.
And so how I feel today becomes what my truth is. And I think what this has produced is you we live in a world and a culture where everybody's very emotion driven, which means you have these massive fluctuations, right? You see
Yes.
people that are, you know, living on the mountain one day and down in the valley the next day. They're on top of the world one day, and then the next day they, can't hardly get out of bed. And as spirit-filled believers, Ken, we're
Uh-huh.
not we're not um eliminating emotions or saying that those things are not real or whatever.
Mhm.
But as spirit-filled believers, what we want to talk about today is how can we learn to disciple those areas of our lives
Yeah.
so that we're driven by fundamental truth, and so that our emotions will follow not just how we feel in the moment, but
Yes.
it will follow the truth. Because if we don't, what it's going to do is going to lead to a life of a lot of highs and a lot of really deep
Mhm.
lows.
Mhm.
So from a biblical perspective, talk to us about that kind of idea and that concept.
Yeah, I like it. I love how you set that up. And also, Kelly lost 60 pounds. Good job, man. We're talking about health and
That's
that throwing that
amazing.
in there because that
Absolutely.
actually, actually, that's part of a way to help manage the
One
highs and lows.
100%. So much
Yeah.
of your emotional stuff is driven by your diet,
Yeah.
and people don't even realize,
Yeah.
man, the
Your gut
sugar that we're
health.
consuming, bro, the
All I got to say
toxicity,
is,
energy drinks, oh my goodness.
all I've got to say is how many of you have ever had so nervous, you got so nervous that you had, I hate to go to back to the whole little toilet situation, but how many of you have been so nervous that it gave you stomach issues?
Sure.
And
Sure.
and so, we know that nerves and stress affects our gut and our gut health and so on and so forth. So I think that's a piece that we might not really get deeply into today, but I think it is a big deal. And I think that's so I think you did it. You did such a good job, man. Genius, Kris. Way to go, bro, for on your
Well, thank you.
birthday for um, moving from modernism to postmodernism because it entered into an era where so people begin to wonder, they question and they go, how in the world did we get to this place where where a person cannot go on a college campus and literally sit and have a conversation at a place that is supposed to be a if anywhere on the planet should be a place where ideas and even differing ideas can be discussed, it should be a college campus, which I think is why a college campus is the magnet for that kind of thing, because that's what
Sure.
you're there to do. You're
Yeah.
there to hear new things and study and be challenged and whatever. And so, but it's so crazy how often you hear about, particularly conservative people who go and they go to college campuses to speak, not just setting up tables somewhere and speaking but like actually being invited to come. And all of a sudden, like you hear these stories that particularly some of these Ivy League schools or whatever, where they're turning over tables and smashing windows, protesting someone coming to speak at their
Mm-hmm.
college.
Yeah.
And what I think what happens is people that are 40 and over, they look at that and go, what has happened? Have we raised such an emotional, generation that
Yeah.
they can't even they can't even like stand to hear someone say something that they don't agree with or believe
Right.
in or
Right.
whatever.
It's violence, right?
Yeah. And I think that's, that goes into what you're talking about, that that we've in some ways lost our ability to even objectively look at things, to
Yeah.
differentiate and say, you know what, I don't agree with that, but you're okay to hold that opinion. Now you're not okay to hold that opinion. Why? Because a person says, my experience is the greatest truth that I can have because it's my experience. And so, and we could track through this. And I think this is so crazy. Jared Young said gender, I love, he said gender is a made up construct to affront the objectivity of biological order God created. So I just did a quick search. It says the shift from asking, what is your sex? You know, remember it used to say on like an application or a form that you fill out, it would say sex.
Mm-hmm.
you know
Yeah.
and in fact there was a little funny that I read one time. It was like, I don't know, a comic or something like that, and the little boy walks in and says, Dad, what is sex? And then the next one, there was the picture of the dad with his eyes open, and he was looking at his wife and her eyes were open and they were pointing at each other. And so finally he goes, well, son, like the next little box, he goes,
Yeah.
well, son, when two people love each other very much, and it just goes dot dot dot, and the next one was the little boy holding up a piece of paper, and he goes, "Wow, how am I going to fit all of that in this little box?"
That's awesome.
It's a great cartoon, man.
That's
And
awesome.
right. And so, but it's interesting because a quick little search says the shift from asking what is your sex to what is your gender occurred
Yeah.
primarily in the 1970s as the distinction between biological sex and the social construct of gender became more prominent in academic and social movements. Very
Mm.
interesting. Very
Mm.
interesting. So what happens is there's a shifting of truth. There's a shifting of science. There's a shifting of, like, you look at it and you say, how could somebody say that if you don't believe in global warming, you're a science denier, but if you believe that there are only two genders, you're not you you you're
Right.
you're not a science denier. Like, what? I don't know, you know what I'm saying? And and so
Right.
all of these things are, and we're not here today, like, we're not here to make social commentary, but I think that what is important is that number one, in a culture where feelings and emotions and experience have become the new guide to reality,
Yeah.
there's also been a shifting of what is valuable and what is objective and what is truth. And I think those are the kinds of things that become that create the very environment where anxiety and depression and fear and confusion all can situate. Because if ultimately we can anchor into something that we can believe in, if we can anchor into something that we know, no matter what's happening in my life right now, there is an anchoring truth.
Yeah.
We used to say stuff like, you know what? Here's the deal. The sun's going to come up tomorrow. It's going to be a new day. You're going to, what were we
Yeah.
saying? We're saying there are some things that are absolute. And even though this feels very shaky and uncertain, we were anchoring people and making those kinds of statements. We were anchoring people into this idea that there are some absolutes that are going to hold true. Nothing
Sure.
is forever. This too shall pass. And I think this is a good setup for why is then Christianity and the kingdom and the rule and reign of Jesus Christ the best way for us to navigate through the vicissitudes of life.
Ooh, just threw out a $20 word.
Pastor Eskridge's word.
That's what I'm talking about. Absolutely. Well, and I think too, again, I don't want to be grumpy old man and whatever, but I'm like looking at the impact of social media that's had on emotions. You have a whole generation that's looking at people. I remember the old joke. Remember back in the day, like there was those HGTV shows,
Uh huh.
and it would be
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
this couple, their budget is 1.4 million for this,
Yeah.
for this house, whatever they're going to look at, and like like Bob's a butterfly collector and his wife Jan is a
Yeah.
poet and their
Yeah.
budget is 1.4 million. And you're like, what in the world?
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know?
Where do I find those butterflies, bro?
And so what happens on social media is there's a certain presentation that's given and it creates this perception that this is what reality looks like.
Right.
And so then people start looking at their own lives and start thinking, well, my life is nothing like that. I need
Yes.
to do something that creates that, that
Mm-hmm.
feeling, or I need to do
Mm-hmm.
this. And so
Mm-hmm.
then you got these people like, going on social media and trying to um, create the image or what's the curate. They're trying to curate
Ah, yes.
this
Curate
this
experiences or curate what?
both, like all of that to give
Yeah.
off this idea that
Yeah.
that somehow their life
Yes.
is exciting and whatever. And what does that do? It creates that up and down, that again, the dopamine, the hit
Mm-hmm.
of how many likes do you get, or is
Yeah.
somebody watching your stuff, is it going
Uh-huh.
viral, like all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
never,
Adam
what's
Alter has a great book called Irresistible that
yeah.
talks about the science of how internet and social media and all this stuff keeps people addicted.
And
Great
what's
book.
bananas is, like, literally, like, this is one of the first generations ever where somebody who is obscure can, in a day's moment, become world famous.
Yes.
Like, literally in a moment, you can go from complete obscurity to totally
Yes.
world famous over nothing.
Some people
Um,
point to Justin Bieber as the sort of the fountainhead of that.
interesting.
Ju-
Interesting.
Justin Bieber is sort of considered the first superstar that came from YouTube.
Wow. That's
He
interesting. I
started
didn't
out,
realize that.
yeah. There's I saw a little. It was like a little documentary on. It was kind of a social commentary documentary talking about some of these things, and they started by showing Justin Bieber in his earliest days, and he would do covers of songs on YouTube, and he
Yeah.
got discovered,
Yeah.
and yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So my point is, like, you've got all of these people looking around at everybody else's experiences of life and thinking, my life is nothing, or, well, then I've got to go do this. And so now all of a sudden I've got this deal where I've got to feed this thing to make me feel valuable or worthwhile. What does that do? What does that do? It produces these massive wild swings versus kind of that steady, that consistent, steady view and perspective. And I think what we've got to do is look at it and say, okay, what does healthy look like? It's one of my favorite questions. I ask it all the time in counseling, is like, what does healthy look like?
yes,
And if you're constantly seeking the hit of the high, you're going to do
yes,
all of these things that are dysfunctional to get that. And then what's going to happen? You can't stay there. It's ultimately the bottom's going to fall out,
it's
and then you're
true.
going to go way low. So I think there's a lot of factors confronting us and facing us in modern culture that we're wrestling through, that we're dealing with. And the reality is, Ken, we've
Okay,
got a lot of spirit-filled believers,
right.
disciples of Jesus, that swing wildly on the emotional pendulum.
Yeah, I mean, it really is true, and and I think this is, I think that this is an example, and when we're talking about, um, like social commentary, we're discussing this idea of we're not our topic today isn't let's discuss the highs and lows of life on the internet or social media or whatever, right? We're not trying to be here today to really just make a show on social commentary.
Sure,
I think
absolutely.
I think what we're doing is identifying where are the influences coming from, because what we can do is we can say, okay, but Solomon said there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
And so,
Sure.
right. And so, although there is internet, I wonder if there is some kind of connection where you look at the life of Solomon. Like
Hmm.
you're in your master's degree program. You probably could do this. You probably could do a comparative study, right?
Yeah.
Um, a com, a comparative study about the life and writings of Solomon in wisdom literature,
Sure.
juxtaposed against modernity,
Hmm.
against how people are furiously and frivolously seeking, uh, whatever it would be, the elusive good life.
Yeah.
And all of the things that you just described, trying to put on, trying to demonstrate, trying to, that your life is all of these things, or that you're reading about the lives of others, or that, you could do this to put out an image, or you could, well, all of those things. Well, Solomon said there was nothing that was restrained from me.
Yeah.
Anything I wanted, I had. It was at my fingertips. Well, there's never been another time in history that the majority of people could have the whole world at their fingertips like Solomon, only in a uh only in a fabricated sense. I mean, his
Sure.
was, but the result is the same.
Yeah.
He said
Yeah.
it's all vanity, vanity. It's all vanity. And the word vanity literally comes from a Hebrew word that means empty.
Yeah.
Emptiness, emptiness. Everything is emptiness.
Yeah.
And but that wasn't the end result of Solomon. The end result of Solomon, I believe, was that he went really high and he went really low, and he crashed and burned and basically said life is meaningless. Nothing matters. It's all vain. It doesn't have not. It's all empty. And I think that there's a lot of people that are beginning to feel and realize and sense that living a life of just raw emotionalism and and artificial fabricated whatever
Yeah.
ultimately is empty. Like online
It's all empty.
relationships are empty. Online friends, 3,000 friends, 4,000 friends on your Instagram or Facebook or your social media accounts is ultimately it is leaving people empty. And so I do think that these things that you're talking about, Kris, I do think that they are the framework that is establishing whether or not we're going to have, here, you ready? Whether or not we're going to have the ability to endure real life.
Absolutely.
Because there will be job losses, there will be pain, there will be sickness, there will be all of those kinds of things. And a post isn't going to change all that. So
Yeah.
what is your anchor? What is that thing that holds you steady through the highs and the lows?
Man, that's such a great question. I think that's, you know, in the 1970s, I think this is an important conversation. I really do. I think, we're talking about like emotional health, because your emotions absolutely have a significant impact on your overall um, spirituality, your relationship with God. Like, I mean, we've all seen people that, they love God. They're hungry for the things of God, but because their emotions swing wildly, it affects your
Yeah.
spirituality. In the 70s, they introduced, I can't remember the lady's name, but they introduced the idea, who's the person who kind of made it known. I can find it here in a minute, but the idea of wellness, right?
Yes.
So wellness was introduced into the medical world, and basically the idea of wellness is there
Yes.
are other things than just what's happening to you physically that
Uh-huh.
is affecting your physical
Mm-hmm.
health.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Holistic is a word
holistic,
too.
yeah,
Holistic. Yeah. Yeah.
holistic.
Yeah.
So you've got occupational, what's happening on your job that's impacting your health, emotional, spiritual, like all of these different things do play in. And we, now we know it's like an indisputable fact. Things like stress contribute to diseases, cancers, heart disease, like all of this kind of stuff. But all of those things also have a significant impact on your spiritual well-being, on your spiritual health. And
Yes.
so this is not just something of like, hey, we're emotional creatures. So God doesn't desire us to be just, monotone
Yeah.
zombies that have
Yeah.
no emotion and
Yeah.
whatever. I think
Right.
what we're talking about today is
Yeah.
if your emotions are not rooted and grounded in the right things, it
Mm.
will carry you wildly from highs to lows. You can seek out.
Stability is not a monochromatic life.
Absolutely.
Right.
100%.
Right. That's
Exactly. We're
good.
not saying you've got to be just flatlined
So
to
good.
be spiritually healthy. God's made you emotional, but the question is like, what are those emotions driven by? If you're emotional, if you're like the high, I use the high, but like the positive, the super positive feelings. If
Right.
those, if that comes from money, if that
Oh.
if that comes from success, if that comes from outside relationships,
Hmm.
all of those things are ultimately neutral.
Yeah.
They're not bad or good. They're ultimately neutral. The
Right.
question is when we have like un un not unnatural but excessive, when we have excessive devotion or focus on those kinds of things, then
Mm-hmm.
what's going to happen is they take the place of what drives our emotions, which
Mm-hmm.
what should drive our emotions should be our walk in relationship with God,
Right.
the truth of God, the things that we know are forever settled. And so
Right.
I don't swing on that. And I think a lot of times what happens is, even for spirit-filled believers, our contentment is determined by
Mm.
how much money we have, what our career is, where do we live, what car do we drive, like all of that kind of stuff. And as disciples of Jesus, we've got to learn how to redirect that so that those things. So I think this is the essence of what Paul was saying, right? I've learned to be content in all things. And I love that phrasing because he didn't say like, this is just my natural reflex. He said, I've had to learn how to be content in whatever state I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a learned thing. And so as disciples of Jesus, like we have the responsibility to do some deep introspection and say, am I excessively happy when I've got a lot of money in the bank?
You're right.
Or am I excessively depressed when I don't have money?
Mm.
Or when I'm getting, social media likes, is that doing something for me that's beyond what should be the normal? And so I think there's a lot of factors in that. So we won't, God's called us to be emotional, but what ultimately is the driver of our that gets us to the place of happiness and contentment? And what's the driver that keeps us from the place of depression and anxiety and hopelessness?
Well, the Bible says godliness with contentment is great gain. So what of those things that you just talked about, how do those things foster discontent?
Yeah,
You see what I'm saying?
sure.
So I mean, so the things that you just discussed and the things that you just talked about, how could, like, if like a listener today is listening and they're thinking about that they're not content with their life,
Yeah.
how are those things, how are the things that we've talked about up till now drive discontentment, and how is that the antithesis to what the scripture says, godliness with contentment is great gain?
Yeah. So is it what is it about that is causing you to feel discontented? It could be a lot of things. It could be that money becomes an indicator of success or
Yeah.
value,
Or security,
security, right? If I don't have a certain amount of money, then people look at me as like I'm not as successful. And
identity,
yeah, um, like relationship stuff,
mhm,
right? I'm
prestige.
I'm empty, I'm lonely, people don't like me, like all that kind of stuff. And so you now give yourself to that. And when you have a and it's so unhealthy, we know that, like you can go get in a relationship, and if you're not in a healthy place, now all of a sudden their response to you determines your total emotional health and wellness, which is a recipe for disaster in relationships.
Yeah. Have you read have you read anything about how that this is really weird, but how that there is almost there's an embedded discontent that's built around how many options that there are available to
Yes,
various things?
absolutely. This is one of the reasons why I'm a minimalist. 100%, that we were not designed to have so many options and choices, and that it actually are, we don't have the capacity really to manage that consistently.
Man, I mean, here's the thing. At the end of the day, I think that people who are able to understand that we've gone from out from the garden as a human family. The garden was a place where our image was secure, our future was secure,
Hmm.
our provision was secure. Our image, our provision, our future, who we were made to be, all of those things, man, all of those things um, are, I think, are help us to understand that that was the original intention.
Yeah.
When we can begin to understand that we are chasing something
Yes.
that was lost, and so the Bible said, "Cursed is the ground for thy sake." And I've really been studying this out, of this weird phrase, "for thy sake."
Hmm.
When you think of "cursed is the ground for thy sake," you think of, well, I did this for thy sake,
Yeah.
right? And when you say "cursed is the ground for thy sake," then it's almost as though God is saying, I'm going to create an environment where the wasteland, the wilderness that you now inhabit, will never be able to produce for you what you had in the garden, because the garden was a description of the God ordered life. So you go out into the wasteland, you go out in the wilderness. Adam and Eve were kicked out of the garden. They went out into the wasteland, and the earth will not yield its full produce. The
Yeah.
thorns and thistles are going to fight against it, and by the sweat of your brow will you eat the bread. Like,
Yeah.
God is explaining the kind of life, this constant battle against not really producing and creating producing for you and creating the kind of life for you that ever would replace what the garden was for you.
Right.
And God did this for us
Hmm.
so that, as Abraham said, here we have no continuing city,
Right.
but he sought one with foundations, whose builder and maker was God.
Right.
And in a world of scarcity, because the world that it was created when Adam and Eve left the ordering of God, what God ordered, when they entered into the wilderness environment, when they entered into the wasteland, they entered into an environment and atmosphere of scarcity. There won't be enough. It will run out. That creates a scarcity mentality. But
Yeah.
for fallen carnal humans,
Yeah.
we anchor our we anchor our future and our hope and our endurance in in our reserves, not our resource.
Man, it's so good.
So we think if we build up the reserves enough, if we have enough reserve friends, if we have enough, I could lose a
Yeah.
friend, but that's okay because I got reserve friends. I could lose some money, but that's okay because I got reserve money. I can lose.
Yeah.
And so what happens is we begin to say, But what happened? But then fear begins to strike us when we get to a point where we're running out of our reserves, which is the whole story of the prodigal son, by the way. And so at the end of the day, the prodigal son began to realize my reserves failed me, but my resource is still intact.
Yeah,
And so is it your reserves or is it your resource? And the beauty is that we might seek him and find him, though he be not far from any one of us.
absolutely. Absolutely. And don't you think this is one of the things Jesus was addressing with the disciples when they came back and they're all excited? Man, devils are subject to your name. We cast out devils. We saw miracles. We saw all of this kind of stuff. And Jesus said, basically like, hey, don't get overly caught up in all that kind of stuff. That's not any big deal. I beheld Satan fall from heaven as lightning. That's not a big deal. But if you want something to rejoice in,
Yes.
rejoice that your name is written down in the Lamb's book of life. And it's almost like Jesus is redirecting them of don't get caught up in those moments. And I think I'm going to read into this, and I'm not trying to read into scripture something that's not there, but Jesus knew that there's coming a day when Peter's going to hang upside down on a cross.
Right.
There's going to be a day where Peter gets out of prison and James doesn't. There's
So
going to
what you're
be a day
so what you're saying is don't be excited because your life bag is full of exciting experiences.
because there's going to come a day
Yeah.
where it looks like
Yeah.
the devils are not subject to the name of Jesus. There's going to come a day where it looks like those things are not happening the way that you want, and you can't direct your happiness, your joy.
Your
He says, "Don't
endurance.
rejoice. Don't
Yeah.
rejoice in those things. Rejoice that your name's written down in the Lamb's book of life." Why? Because that's something that's unchangeable, regardless of what
Hmm.
circumstances present in your life.
Right.
The fact that you've been chosen, that you've been called, you're a follower of me. That that is where you place your joy. And I think it's bigger than just that your name is written down in the Lamb's book of life. Obviously that's the
Yeah.
eternal goal, but I think it's a bigger picture of what is directing your life. No matter what the circumstances are, your relationship, your walk with God, the things of God are the things that direct and dictate. So guess what? If I have an amazing day, I'm going to give God the glory.
Hmm.
If I
Yeah.
have a terrible day where everything is falling apart, all hell's breaking loose in my life and everything's going wrong, guess what? God's still worthy. Why? Because I have the promise that all things are going to work together for good to them that
Yes.
love God and are called according to his purpose. And so it's a matter of where are you directing your trust? Where are you directing your hope? And what is the source of your contentment? If it's in those temporal things, if it's even things that look spiritual, like if it's not directed in the appropriate way, it can then produce the opposite effect and actually can become a demoralizing thing.
Man, that's so true. And that's the thing where it goes back to uh, um, what Jesus said to the disciples when he said, "In this world you will have tribulation."
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
you
Right.
know,
Set the
like
expectations right.
yeah, he because the thing about it is, he said, if you get into a frame of mind
Mhm.
that you're rejoicing because of circumstances, you're going to be disappointed
Mhm.
because circumstances will change. Like what you were talking about, this
Yeah.
high, not too long from now, is going to become a real low.
Right.
What Jesus wanted them to understand was, and these are inextricably tied, right? Don't rejoice because your name is written, or excuse me, don't rejoice because the demons are subject, but that your name is written in the Lamb's book of life. What's interesting is it's the present imperative when Jesus said, uh, um, "Stop basing your joy on this." Or do
Yeah.
not go on. It's a present imperative.
Yeah.
So what Jesus was saying was, don't go on rejoicing in this, or don't what Jesus was saying when he said don't rejoice, he wasn't telling them like it wasn't an emphatic where he said you can't rejoice in current situations and circumstances. You can't rejoice. He was saying to
Right.
them, it was in present imperative. In other words, don't go on from here rejoicing because of this.
Yeah.
Go on from here rejoicing in something that will never change, right? Don't
Yeah.
base your joy on this. So what Jesus was doing was guiding them away from a performance-based joy or a circumstantial-based joy into a promised-based joy.
Love it.
Stop. A way to look at it is, nevertheless, stop finding your joy in the fact that the spirits are subject to you, but rejoice that your names are permanently enrolled in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Plen en tuto me charite. Nevertheless, do not rejoice in this. And I think, and so I think that what you're referring to goes back to what builds endurance, right?
Yeah.
Like endurance is built on expectations, right? Endurance and expectation. I think endurance and expectation is like the stabilizing partnership where your expectation fuels your endurance, but endurance is not just the ability to keep going. It's the ability to keep going because you know what's coming.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not just endurance isn't biblical endurance because biblical endurance is tied to hope.
Sure. Absolutely.
Non-biblical endurance is just tied to, well, I guess it's tied to hope that there
But it's
might be
it's
something
more
better.
willful determination.
Yeah.
Like
And I
I'm
think
making it happen. I'm pressing through.
exactly. And so I think that's so important as we look at, what is that? What is the, he said, my earnest expectation and hope.
Mm-hmm.
Twice Paul mentions the earnest expectation and hope,
Yeah.
right? He
Yeah.
said, we rejoice in hope of the glory of God. And not only that, but we glory in tribulations. Not only
Yes.
that, but we
Yeah.
glory in tribulations, knowing that tribulation produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope.
Man, that's so
Wow.
good.
So hope
That's
doesn't just
so
lead to
good.
endurance. Endurance leads back to strengthened expectation because it changes our character. It changes who we are in Christ. And
Yeah.
so, so I think this is stabilization. I guess my point is this is stabilization because, Paul said in 2 Corinthians, he said, we are perplexed, but
Mm-hmm.
not in despair. So Christians don't have to
Yes.
put their head in the sand and act like everything's great. They don't have to post or tweet something or post something out there and go, life is great, never been better, when inside they're feeling like this is horrible, right? Because he said we're perplexed but not in despair. We're struck down but not destroyed.
Yeah.
I mean,
So good. That's so good.
there's
I,
where
I
the endurance is. It's a hope-filled look at it's all resolved in Jesus Christ. It's the reason why I brought this up, Kris, and I'll leave this is your birthday, and so I'm going to leave the whole rest of this podcast to you, and I'm just going to sit here and clap my hands.
whatever.
But but I just want to say I want to connect a couple of dots here where people might say, well, explain to me what the whole thing about going out into the wilderness and the world isn't going to be able to produce it and it's not your reserves, it's your resource. No, that's the point. It's not your reserves. It's not how much can you build up to have in reserves so that you've got the ability to endure bad circumstantial seasons.
Yeah.
It's who your resource is, capital R. Because your resource not only is the one who could provide what you need. This is the whole idea of manna. This is the whole idea of, take no thought for what you'll wear, what you'll eat. I mean, this is the whole, when you're talking about minimalism at the heart and core of minimalism isn't getting rid of unnecessary things. It's actually discovering the most necessary thing.
Yes.
Too many people think minimalism is getting rid of unnecessary things out of your life.
Right.
Well, if you don't have any objective understanding of what are the most important things, then your minimalism is just an exercise of futility.
Yeah.
You don't go getting rid of a bunch of stuff you don't need. Well, what do you need? No, minimalism is discovering what you need most. And that is the pursuit of your resource. And so your resource not only holds your ability to give what you need in this day, give us this day our daily bread, but he also is the God who holds your future.
Man, that's
It's
so
your
good,
it's
bro.
your birthday. The rest of it is yours. I'm just
No,
gonna
no,
sit
no,
here and
no, no.
clap.
Whatever. So I let's just in the final moments of this podcast, let's get down to some practical because I mean you've
Good.
summed up the theological. I mean that's as abundantly clear as you can ever make it. And I love the minimalist piece. I think that is so critical because you can shed everything for the wrong reason and it's not going to produce the feeling of like, well, those things don't have my contentment. It's still birthed out of the wrong thing. So all right, so
Oh,
we live in a world where this is obviously an overgeneralization, but we live in a world where people are consistently dragged around by the nose
yes.
by how they feel.
True.
Emotions are dragging people around, and this is where one of the worst pieces of advice. We've all heard it said before, but you know do what you feel, follow
Yeah.
your heart.
Yeah. I follow your
And
heart.
we
Yeah.
know we know that biblically that the heart is desperately wicked. If it's not redeemed, it's desperately wicked. It's deceitful above all things. It'll lead you into some horrible places and horrible things that then not only doesn't produce peace and contentment, it actually produces more chaos.
So true, man.
And so we live
That's
in a
so
world
good, bro.
we live in a world dragged around by their nose. So practically speaking, there ought to be something about us that the world looks at us and says, "Man, what is it about them?" Again, I go back to Michael Frost. I kind of hate that he's the one that said it, but that's a whole different conversation. But the living questionable lives piece is so amazing. There ought to be something so different about the way we live that
Yep.
people around us are recognizing, not just by the things that we abstain from or whatever, but the way we live, the way we conduct our lives, the way that we demonstrate those things, our emotions and all that kind of stuff ought to be something different than the rest of the world. So practically speaking, um, Jared Young said, made a lot of arrests of people following their emotion and hearts. Bro, it's so true, man.
Shoot.
How
Right.
many
Good
how
night.
many people get into stupid stuff or you know get into relationships, have children, whatever, because they decided to follow their heart and it leads to
Mm.
absolute train wreck. Okay. So practically speaking, I think there are some things that we as believers need to do to we're emotional people. You can't eliminate emotion. We're not trying to eliminate emotion, but the question is, how do we redeem the emotion? Right.
Yeah.
And I think there's a few things. I'm gonna tick off just a few of these things and then
Yeah.
let you wrap it all up. Okay.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So so practically
You
speaking,
said,
we
"Oh, I see what you did there. Wrap it all up." You were asking me, "Did I get you a birthday present?" Aren't you?
that's exactly what I was
I
that's what I
got
was
you.
hitting at. Yeah, absolutely. Um so practically speaking, we mentioned this earlier, but it's so true, bro. We're not a physically healthy people.
Right.
And oftentimes we minimize health under the guise of, well, this is just a temporal thing and this is whatever. So, but the reality is, man, your physical health plays such a key role in your
Hmm.
emotions. And a lot of our emotional struggles that people are dealing with are actually not really emotions. I mean, we could get into the whole conversation about the vagus nerve and things that are happening
Oh,
in your
bro.
gut and all that kind of
Bro.
stuff. We're not experts. We can act like experts, but but we've done enough study to know like those things are affecting how you feel. And
Yes.
then and then what do? We prescribe medications. I'm not against medication, but I'm just saying like we prescribe medications versus the first conversation ought to be like, what do you eat? If you go to a doctor and you're struggling with your emotions or even some health stuff, the question ought to be like, what are you eating? What's your diet look like?
Hmm.
What does your exercise look like? Exercise is another one. Dude, I'm telling you right now, like I I feel emotionally 1,000 times more peaceful because I'm going to the gym 5, 6 days a week. Like there's an absolute definite impact on my emotions. And again, I'm just talking practically. Your diet, your exercise, what you're entertaining, what you're bringing into your life, like social media, the algorithm stuff can bring stuff, and it perpetuates discontentment, which
Mm-hmm.
makes your emotions swing wildly. I preached on Sunday, Bible says the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God, the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of Christ, bringing every thought into
Every thought.
captivity.
Mm-hmm.
We have a responsibility to capture the thought
Yes, we do.
and to put it in prison. It literally means like dragging something in as a prisoner of war.
Yeah.
You identify that it contradicts the ways of God, and you put it. We have to have some discipleship to understand that when those thoughts hit,
Mm-hmm.
just because I feel it doesn't make it true. And if it
Mm-hmm.
contradicts the word of God, I need to put it into captivity.
Mm-hmm.
This demands, okay,
You drag it or it'll drag you. You control it or
100%.
it'll control you.
100%. So from the
Right.
practical side, eat healthy, exercise,
Right.
get rest, control what you're consuming in social media, movies, TV, like all that kind of stuff. What are you consuming that music affects your emotions and all of that kind of stuff. So that's practically speaking. Obviously, from a biblical perspective, if you're not actively engaged in your personal discipleship, and if you're not letting Jesus heal old wounds, give you a new lens to view the world, a new perspective on the
Right.
things of the world, like all of that kind of stuff radically impacts how you feel and your emotions. And we instead of being a bystander and watching our emotions produce a bunch of negative things in our lives or drag us around by the nose, we have the responsibility, Ken, to disciple, to be a disciple and let God transform those places in us. And I'm just be real. Like as pastors, we see so many people that are great people that love God, that are faithful,
that really do want God's best for their life.
They absolutely, this is not condemnation today, but they're not doing some things that then makes them vulnerable and susceptible
Counterproductive.
to emotions that are going to produce negative things in their lives. And then they wonder why these things are happening. We've got to exercise the authority God has given us over those things.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason. It's awesome. There's a reason why that there is the satire of daily affirmations with Stuart Smalley. There, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It was a, it was an era of it was a satire of a modern trend, a self-help pop psychology trend where there was self-help books everywhere. And things that you're talking about is things are that that you're referencing are all things that you don't want you want some self-help. You want to do some things that will really help yourself.
Yeah.
Winston Churchill once said that the ability of humanity to rise above without the help of divine providence, to rise above the ills of society, is as fruitless as a man standing in a bucket and lifting himself off the ground by pulling as hard as he can from the handles.
Right.
He said you have no point of you have no fulcrum, you have no point at which your strength is converted. You can stand in the bucket and you can grab the handles and you can pull as hard as you want. You're not lifting yourself off the ground. And I think that humans have come to the point where they've realized that it all begins with understanding who God is and who we are in him.
Yeah.
And the things that you're referring to, I think, are that they situate us in our ability to understand that for a while, for a while, it might be fun to think that you want the life you want. That for a
Mhm.
while, it might think that it's fun, you know. And I'm going to connect this back to what you talked about exercise and eating and everything. If I can, I mean, we've been doing this for a while. We're highly trained experts, and so let me see if I can just bring this all back around.
I have so much confidence right now. It's not even funny.
But what, just like our previous try attempt at the show, it's not even
Yes.
funny. But it these things are it the two pieces of cake taste good for Thanksgiving or pumpkin pie or your birthday cake. The all of the things it tastes good in the moment.
Yeah.
But what happens is it begins to compound over time.
Mhm.
And what doing what I like results in, what doing in what feels good to me results in, what doing what tastes good to me results in. Kris, the study of the rats, where they gave them cocaine
Yeah.
in one like watered cocaine in one water bottle and sugar water in the other bottle, and the all of the mice eventually began turning their back on the cocaine and went to the sugar bottle,
Right.
that they became more addicted to the sugar. And so what happens is we there consumerism causes us to eat what tastes best.
Yes.
Consumerism causes us to seek life experiences that pleasure us the best. The net result is, just as it makes you physically unhealthy and you've got an unhealthy immunity and all of those things,
Mhm.
we also have unhealthy endurance.
Mm.
Our spiritual endurance is reflected in our physical endurance.
100%.
Go go run a mile today, and the result of running that mile will make you feel horrible. And you'll say, "Let me just get back in my chair and eat my Twinkie." It has the same relative impact if you say, "I'm not going to do the hard stuff. I'm not going to discipline my life. I'm not going to
So true.
pray. I'm not going to." And you know what? The net result is you will be just as unhealthy. And so what we're trying to encourage people today is that you can do hard things. We can do hard things. We need the brethren. We're fighting an uphill battle, both in the culture that we live in and the world we live in. But we need encouragement from one another. We need the strength of one another. And bless God, let's do it, because we have families that are depending on us. We have a world that's
Yes.
depending on us to bring the gospel to them. We have
Yes.
we have we have a future in Christ that that requires us getting up over the top of whatever today is, whether it feels amazing or whether it feels horrible. There is a hope that's anchored in Jesus Christ, both steadfast and sure. We're anchored to that which is within the veil. Let us be people. As the Hebrew word, the name Hebrew, they've tried to figure out, what does the word Hebrew mean? Hebrew, what does that word mean? And the best that linguists can determine is that the word Hebrew means the people who go through.
Mm. I love it. I love it. Man, that's so good. That's so good. As you're talking there, I was thinking about one of the beautiful things about being raised by a coach, Hall of Fame basketball coach, Ken
Yep.
Dillingham Sr. the third,
Yeah.
right? And but one of the things is, and this is going to sound very like coach colloquialism, but what you want is on the other side of hard things.
It's true.
And like part of my mindset as I've been on kind of a little bit of this health journey is, like you said, you run and feel miserable, But on the other side of that miserable feeling is the feeling of accomplishment,
Mhm.
the endorphins,
Mhm.
and so now all of a sudden, like, my mindset has been on the other side of pushing through, on the other side of, lifting weights when I don't want to, and just like finish the rep, because on the other side of that, you're going to get the gains. It's going to feel good, like all that kind of stuff. So if people can get that mindset that what you desire is on the other side of hard,
Mhm.
then it changes the whole way you look at it. And I'll just add one other piece and one other component. We'll wrap it up with this, but we don't do well. We don't do well. We celebrate workaholics. We celebrate people that run themselves into the ground.
Mm.
And it was God
Mm.
who implemented the idea and the concept of rest.
Hmm.
And you talk about, you want to get emotionally out of whack.
Mhm.
You just go and go and go and go and go and go and just run.
Mhm.
Like, at some point, it's going to make you grouchy. It's going to make you're going to get irritated with people. You're going to get frustrated. One of the best things
Mhm.
that we can do is A, spiritual rest by spending time with the Lord, but also B, physical rest absolutely affects our
Mhm.
mood. And
Mhm.
these are all things, Ken. This is one of the hardest conversations we need to have with people, because we just don't do well. We spiritualize so many things, but there are so many physical, practical things that are affecting the emotional and the spiritual, that
Mhm.
we need to have some of these hard conversations.
Yeah, so true. Yeah, bro. I mean, man, there it is. I think that's a really good point to seal it up on. Our again, you just highlighted the very practical dynamic of that our security isn't in our reserves.
Yeah.
Why do people work, 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 work? There's. I mean, here's the thing. People work their hind end off for a couple of reasons. Either A, they're working until they build up enough reserves that either they can buy what brings them pleasure, they can have a sense of security,
Hmm.
or they can be seen as the person that they want to be seen as.
Yeah.
People work their rear end off so that they can either have the things that bring them pleasure, achieve a sense of security because of their reserves, or become or be seen as the kind of person that they want to be seen as. And at the end of the day, bro, it's all in him.
Absolutely.
He's
That's
the
it.
resource. So just rest. That's the rest, right? If
That's
any
the
man is
rest.
entered into rest, he ceased from his own works. That
Yeah.
sounds so counterintuitive. It sounds in this sort of hyper productivity culture of North America that we were raised in, and it's starting to decline, I think, in the younger generations. But you were, if you weren't willing to work 50, 60, 70 hours a week, you were just lazy.
100%.
And you know what? The Bible does say, whatever your hand finds to do, do with all your might, right? The Bible doesn't condone laziness. But it also doesn't condone, hello, somebody. It also doesn't condone us working to produce our own toys, our own security, and our own reserves, our own toys, our reserves, and our identity as the byproduct of our own hands. That's
Hmm.
Cain living. Rest living is, I'm going to bring God what he asks and trust God to make up the difference.
Yeah. So good. So good. Well, it was a bumpy start, but man, I feel like this was a good conversation today.
It was a
Appreciate
bumpy
all of
start.
the appreciate all of the comments today. Some great
Got a bunch of happy
interaction,
birthdays,
engagement.
bro.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody with the happy birthday wishes. So very,
Yeah.
very kind of you, and I appreciate that. So
Yeah.
thank you all. The best birthday gift is just everybody being on today and
Amen.
listen, making this possible. So we
As Rush
appreciate that.
Limbaugh used to say, it's another episode in the can, in the pot.
It's another episode in the can. That's
Yeah.
one way to put it. We're
Yeah.
going back to fiber jokes again, huh?
Yep.
That's what
Yep.
we're
Let's
doing.
let's finish. Hey, the best is behind us.
That's a shout out to you, Cleveland. All right.
We
Appreciate
love you.
everybody.
We love you, brownies.
That's right. Thank you for being on today. We look forward to coming back